Boobs.
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
Video game marketing is a tricky thing. On one hand, the more people that know your game exists, the more copies it's likely to sell, but you also don't want to be known for all the wrong reasons. They say that no publicity is bad, but if your game is only known because you happen to have put several hours into clubbing baby seals to death, you may have larger problems than trying to get people to add your game to their Steam wishlist. If you're No Man's Sky, you may get carried away with the hype and promise things that you can't deliver upon, and then spend years providing free updates in order to get back into the public's good books. If you're Peter Molyneux, then you may advertise a brand new piece of technology that you have no hopes of achieving and then just claim that you didn't. If you're Cyberpunk 2077, then you might try and sell a broken product on your reputation, fixing it only after it's sold 17 million copies, and then fixing the story using paid DLC. Let me see how much the Ultimate Edition is. I don't really care for Cyberpunk. Companies have been known in order to bet on a few wild horses in order to get you to pony up that cold hard cash, and the 2012 winner of the worst company in America is no different. Electronic Arts have had their fair share of Anthems and Mass Effects, though they have had a few skeletons in their closets as early as the 2000s. So if you are unaware, the creation of a brand new video game IP is a tricky thing. People are significantly less likely in order to spring on something that's brand new, which is why a lot of studios focus on developing sequels or reboots because they know that there's an inbuilt fanbase for that and it has a lot higher chance of it selling well. Unless you're Saints Row.
I've got nothing left! I've got nothing left!
What's up guys, Editing Jamie here. You can hear the Mac, but all jokes aside, I do want to say people did lose their jobs, so I hope everyone at Volition landed on their feet or was able to be transferred to another studio or something along those lines, but yeah. Also, the Saints Row reboot was fine.
Well, why are you boring me? I'm right.
Or you could just go dumpster diving. The public domain. You better not make a slasher film. Upon wrapping up their previous projects, EA Redwood Shores began tinkering around with new ideas as they are known to do. They took one look at it and said, that's a video game. And that was the only look they gave it. The reason why Dante's Inferno was chosen as a basis for a video game depends on who you ask. The official story said that they read the Divine Comedy and saw its potential as a video game, which does make sense, the plot sort of writes itself at that point. It's here that I feel I need to address something. Whilst researching this video, I came across various sources that said it was the marketing department at EA that led them in order to change their vision for the game. It was originally apparently supposed to be a graphic novel sort of type deal that was going to emulate 300. However, I can't actually find any sources that corroborate this that I think are actually valid. The most reliable source I found is the What Happened on Dante's Inferno done by Matt McMuscles. However, this information was gleaned through an interview with an anonymous developer, which I can't verify. I don't have any surprise witnesses or anything like that. Whilst I am inclined to believe him as his sources are solid, I'm not going to state it as fact because I can't verify that myself. Everything used in this video is a source that you can access yourself. Once again, I am inclined to believe it and say that it is true, but I have linked that video down as well as any other sources used in the writing of this video, just in case you want to check out those perspectives. Regardless, I can see how that conversation would go. Hey Redwood, can I call you Redwood?
No.
Well, we love your idea, using the public domain. Genius.
Well, yeah, it's something everything knows, and I think it'll be interesting to see how...
Yeah, cool. We did have some notes, though.
You do?
Well, yeah, marketing's worried that the whole graphic novel mature thing isn't really going to sell, and, you know, God of War's been doing really well, so maybe we could take that sort of direction with it? What do you think?
We made the Simpsons game.
Now, Jamie Noble presents a quick literature lesson. Dante's Inferno is the first part of the Divine Comedy, and written by Dante Alighieri, and is for all intents and purposes a long walk. The collection is essentially a metaphysical exploration of what happens to a soul after death. Dante travels through three areas, which are Inferno, the recognition and rejection of sin for people who need a little bit
more doom in their lives.
Purgatory, the place for people whose souls need a little bit more work because they kindled the first flame at the end of Dark Souls and that went so well the first time. And Paradise, a representation of a soul ascending to outer heaven.
Like Mario and Princess Peach.
It's presumed that any sequels would have adapted the other two parts. Throughout his journey, Dante is guided by the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. Such insight is afforded to me by being an English literature student. I have certain resources available to me. The first guide, Virgil, manifests human reason, and so is fucking stupid, presumably. The second guide, Beatrice, represents revelation and divine devotion. The final guide, Saint Bernard, seems to do something similar, however it seems to be more focused on the acts of actually doing that, rather than the thoughts of that. The first thing you do in Dante's Inferno is kill death. So Dante is now a soldier who perished in the Crusades, carving his way into hell to rescue Beatrice, his girlfriend who's been taken as Satan's mistress. Isn't Beatrice supposed to be helping him?
Thank you, boob lady!
So what does it actually play like? Checks out. The developer had the fucking balls to say that the game was more like Devil May Cry than God of War, and I don't really see why he's...
It was at this moment that he knew.
Oh, Virgil, Dante, cute. But that's besides the point. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about marketing.
Sexiest department in all of video games. Marketing.
Regardless of any reasons why Dante's Inferno became what it is, it had a really strange marketing campaign. Given the popularity of the character action genre, I can understand why it's attractive in order to... Oh... Didn't know Al Gore was credited in this game. Is that even a joke? The visual identity played a large part in both the creation and promotion of Dante's Inferno. Wayne Barlow was brought on in order to forge some of my nightmares into art assets, and EA were ready in order to whip their big dick out and support this game in the best way they can. They would then presume in order to use that big dick as inspiration for an enemy later on, probably in the Circle of Lust. At least for myself, the attraction of the Divine Comedy is because of its ruminations on questions that continue to be asked. We'll probably never have answers to the questions that it asks, and as a result, it's incredibly interesting to see this perspective. Not only is it fascinating on its own, it has also informed a lot of our interpretations of death in wider media. So Dante took the go to hell idea and crafted an entirely new game out of it. If the original work is a map, then the game was willing in order to take the shortcut that you insist is going to get you there quicker. But as I said before, Dante's Inferno goofing the goober of the original source material isn't what we're here to talk about. It's all the shit they did for it. You see, in the 2000s, EA were chasing the mega hit, which I imagine was spurred on by the success of franchises like Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty. EA Redwood Shores were in a bit of a transitionary phase after completing the Simpsons game. They would look to branch out in order to create a more mature action-based fare, which was the...
Just dial at the time.
You recording?
I am, yeah.
Hi.
They were interested in developing a System Shock remake, but due to the quagmire of all of the legal complications in the IP, were unable to continue with it. They were left hankering in order to develop a game like that and didn't really know where to take it. Then Resident Evil 4 came out. Yeah, I'll do it. It was there that the team began working on a particular third-person action horror experience of their own, one that would stalk the halls and tear limbs from limbs. It's fucking Dead Space. EA Redwood Shores was so enthused at developing these combat-heavy visceral games that they decided to name themselves after it. I imagine they used existing games as a template as, one, that's typically how innovation happens. Doom comes out, people copy it, people add new features to it, and eventually it's no longer a Doom clone, it's a first-person shooter. The second reason is I imagine telling EA you're developing a Resident Evil 4 is a lot easier than telling them why your game's going to sell less. So Dante's Inferno was coming along. The development team were working hard, and marketing were kicking around a few ideas. Let's check in with them and see how they're doing.
Thanks, Wayne. Very graphic. Marketing. You're big on this. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think we should do something on different layers of hell.
Oh, great idea. We can do so much.
We should ask people in order to commit acts of lust, and whoever's the stankiest come in like a night with prostitutes and shit.
Do you even work here?
There was the usual marketing angles. Trailers, E3 booths, developer interviews, and my personal favourite, reprinting the original poem with the cover of the game. I need to buy one of these. But the 9 Circles of Hell was their big push. Even bigger than God's cameo in the Simpsons game. That's the wrong clip. Don't cut back to me, cut... They did a special marketing stunt for every layer of hell, which I imagine sounded like a good idea. But so did moving to a deserted island because I wanted to be like Animal Crossing. With the asterisks that I had to piece this together from decades old blog posts, a single low resolution image and a concentrated power of will. The first circle of hell is Limbo, and rather than bending backwards in order to maneuver under a rapidly lowering pole, EA decided to insult an entire group of people. Christians. I mean, with a game like this, it's probably bound to happen, and in the summer of 2009, a group of protesters gathered outside of the gamer's place of worship. E3. They demanded that Dante's Inferno cease development and go back to the hells of which it was spawned.
And hell is not some sort of game that you could just go to and
They damned Dante's ability to judge people as only God and Judy can judge, and of course they were hired by EA. Perhaps it's a comment that everybody who's playing this game is refusing to acknowledge their sins and as a result is going to spend time in limbo, but I feel like I'm doing some mad mental gymnastics in order to make that work. Or it's just stupid. Like I said, with a game like this, you're much more likely in order to draw the ire of certain communities, but using them as the butt of the joke usually just means the joke's on you. Also, I wouldn't target the Christian community. Their messiah fucking got nailed to a cross just because you masturbate at night. Also, they have Ben Shapiro on their side.
Wet ass P-word.
For the layer of Gluttony, they sent major review outlets fingers made of cake. A limb biscuit, if you will. This one's actually pretty good. For Greed, they sent major review outlets, I'm sensing a pattern here, checks for $200. Maybe EA want to bring that production back? No? Okay. Besides, most outlets apparently thought that it was just a poorly disguised attempt at bribery. The check came with a note that reads like the D&D campaign I wrote the night before. Greed is a two-headed beast. Hoarding wealth feeds one of the heads on the beast, and squandering it satiates the other. By cashing this check, you succumb to avarice by hoarding filthy lucre, and by not cashing it, you waste it and thereby surrender to prodigality. Make your choice and suffer the consequence for your sin, and scoff not, the consequences are imminent. Joystick cashed the check and donated the money to charity. Kotaku burnt it. Man, Kotaku used to be cool. I wonder what the review scores of people who cashed and kept the check was, but we'll never know. Rage is a difficult thing to show without just getting people to fight in the street. Watch the news, I guess. Fight the stupid fucking fire giant. Play the DuckTales theme over and over again, it'll get in their head eventually. Or you could just... No. Game journalists were sent a music box that continuously played everyone's guilty pleasure song, It's a Fucking Banger and You Know It. They supplied a hammer, and upon use, the bloodshot and bleary-eyed members of IGN or some shit would find a piece of paper that told them that they just committed anger. What's my ethos? Playing EA-published action co-op game A Way Out. Never gonna give you... Given that EA had already portrayed Christian protesters as a tool for marketing a vandalism of one of the greatest works of fiction of all time, they'd already gotten a great start on Heresy. Perhaps maybe take a rest for this one? Run some ads instead? EA released a trailer for a game called Mass We Pray, a console game that wouldn't look out of place on the Wii. It used cross-shaped controllers and a Pew Bench balance board. So you spent money on the creation of a fake trailer and then ran that trailer that doesn't advertise your game. Unfortunately, the website isn't up anymore, but thanks to the Wayback Machine, we can view what it said. The website pretty much just reiterates everything that's said in the trailer, but if you try to click on any of the links, it will tell you that you've committed a sin. You know, when you say it this often, it does start to lose its luster a bit. The domain's available for purchase, so back my Kickstarter in order to... Now we have a bit of a conundrum here, in the same way that shooting yourself in the foot is a minor inconvenience. You can't really incite a riot in order to demonstrate the next layer of hell, which is violence. I can't find anything on this particular layer, so I'll just remind you that the year before this, EA sent brass knuckles to games journalists in order to market the Godfather 2 game. They sent a weapon through the mail. There's no joke here. Don't send weapons through the mail.
Hi, editing me again. Whilst I was getting the necessary clips and images for this video, I did actually find one that shows what violence is. It appears that they sent them baubles, which were in the shape of various skulls and things like that. Still fucking stupid, but that's that, I suppose.
Given EA's pedigree, you may think that fraud would be a particularly easy one to do. I'm sure their CEO has committed 666 accounts themselves. Instead, they decided to market a fake product. Didn't you already do this one?
Light the road on fire with the Dante's Inferno Circle Cycle.
The Circle Cycle was a motorbike for children that appeared to spray blood and featured a child in Dante cosplay. Perhaps don't market your fake product as if children would enjoy it, when the game you're actually advertising is very much not friendly for children. Besides that, could we just take a minute and remember when EA did cool stuff? It wasn't sexual harassment lawsuits, it wasn't fucking up Mass Effect. It wasn't every YouTuber saying EAFC 24 is bad, but then buying it like 6 times and keep buying FIFA points. It was just really stupid marketing campaigns. Sure, they had their problems, but this was creative. This was something different. Whether it actually helped to get people talking, or whether it just served in order to make people more annoyed at how much they're just seeing this game, it's still pretty cool. I just wish they'd do more stuff like this. God damn it! In order to market the Circle of Lust, EA invited people to sin to win. This involved committing various acts of lust on the E3 show floor. This is the same EA that chose not to publish Thrill Kill because they thought it was too bad. Games journalists could abandon their credibility by taking risque photos with the incredibly outdated practice of hiring several scantily dressed 10 out of 10s in order to promote your 6 out of 10. Should EA feel you have perpetuated the myth that video games are the
male fantasy
more than everybody else, you would be treated to a sinful night, which included dinner with 2 hot girls, a limo service, and champagne. The date was with the 2 girls, not the limo, but you get the point. EA pulled the contest shortly after its announcement due to outrage. Fucking duh. For the final Circle of Hell, let's see whether you can guess what EA did. Did they A. Run a few ads on television? B. Put a seasonal event in FIFA that year? Or C. Market a fake product again? This time it was a fictional company called Hawk Panther. That name is reserved exclusively for patriots who bleed red, white and blue, or homoerotic pornographic professionals. People were invited to click on the link in order to discover the tips and tricks of how to cheat with your brother's wife, though if you clicked on it, you would be greeted with another message that damned you to hell. It's like the 4th time now. Bear in mind that this was all alongside a very aggressive marketing campaign that included graphic novels, an animated movie, an action figure. EA then shelled out for a Super Bowl ad. This was unheard of at the time, and I imagine cost a real pretty penny. And this is all for a game that most people don't even know exists. There will probably never be another game like Dante's Inferno. A game that is, by all accounts, really average in execution, in writing, in gameplay, but had an absolute balls-to-the-wall marketing campaign for some reason. EA really tried to make Dante's Inferno a thing. I know they'd reuse some of the tips and tricks that they learned with Dead Space 2, like with the game your mum doesn't want you to play campaign. It never really reached the heights again, and EA haven't really done a marketing campaign like this since. The encouragement of sexual debauchery, sending people cakes in the shape of limbs, fake products, multiple times, all mixed together for a sour-tasting product that has fallen to the sands of time. Well, all's well that ends well. All's fair in love and war. Through hell and high water and any other idiom you may think of. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. I put a lot of effort into these videos, trying a new style. You get to see my beautiful face and this ugly ass beard. Let me know if you like the style or whether you want me to do some of the other stuff. If there's any game or interesting thing you'd like me to research and do a video on, leave it down in the comment sections or just drop by to say hi. But if you excuse me, I'm going to hell.